Yo, it's me. It's me. It's the SCOTT. And it's time to review Candyman, starring Tony Todd, Virginia Madsen, directed by Bernard Rose. And it was released in 1992. Again, this was one I knew I had to see before I did my list. There's going to do a 90s list, so... Alright, so I enjoyed this movie, alright, but there is one negative I'm going to give right away, and that's, there's one, not negative, but just like, about the viewing. This viewing it's negative about this viewing because I had to watch it on demand for sci-fi, which means it was edited. And I guess I didn't notice much throughout the film. The only thing that really got my attention was the end. And we'll talk about it because I feel like I literally started laughing when I had it because it's such a funny way to edit so that it's cuts out gore. We'll get to that. So what is the story here? The story here follows Helen Lyle, who's doing a thesis on urban legends and, in particular, Candyman. Her and her friend Bernadette are investigating some murders that supposedly happened by Candyman. Yes, that's 3 times now. And Candyman. See, said it 5 times and be my victim. So anyway, I did that because in the film, they couldn't see them on camera. They couldn't see him on camera. So that's why, anyway, so they're investigating to find out about some murders that supposedly happened from Candyman. And when they're getting, beginning of this, she's actually getting told the story about Candyman. And it has a cameo from Ted Raimi as a greaser type person. And so, one thing I was thinking about with this is that there's such a difference from in the story when someone says his name 5 times to what actually happens to Helen. The couple in the film, they say it in the little story, they say it 5 times, and then, or they say it 4 times, and then Terry goes downstairs, she says it the 5th time, she turns the light off, and he appears. And then there's a scream, and Terry looks up, and there's a blood stain, right? And then we cut to, So you could say maybe that's just the story. Like it goes quick enough. But after Helen and Bernadette say it, Helen only says it 5 times because she's the main character. And it really takes forever for him to find her. One thing that I didn't like about this movie is I hate it in horror movies when someone is going against some supernatural force and it frames them for murders that this supernatural force committed. I hate that. I hate it when directors do that. I hate it when filmmakers do that. Why do you have to frame your main character? It makes no sense to me. It's your main character. Okay, a main character, a hero in a horror movie should never, ever look bad. So it should never be framed for something that they didn't do. They should never be caught in a bad way. They're the heroes of a horror movie. To me, that means they should be... Now, they could do, smoke weed, have sex, that type of stuff, but never murder themselves. Now, I know and say that there have been murderers who are main characters, but to me, I don't, you could say, like, See No Evil. I think one of the main characters in that was a murderer, wasn't he? I don't know, but I just don't, I mean, that's real murder, but, like, false murder, like, so what happens with Helen is that she has an encounter with Candyman in a car park, and she passes out, and she wakes up in an apartment in Cabrini Green, there's a dead dog. Apparently, dog's head was chopped off with a cleaver, and she'd been to this house earlier in the film to talk to the woman about an encounter with Candyman. And now the woman's trying to find her baby, and when Helen wakes up, she immediately grabs a cleaver. Why the fuck would you do that? And then she goes in to see what's going on, and so because she's standing there with the cleaver, the woman attacks her, thinking she's responsible for the missing baby. And then the cops show up just as Helen is getting the upper hand. The cops show up, and of course she's framed for this. And I don't know if I mentioned this, I hate cops in movies. Like, so she's trying to explain what happened, and they won't let her talk. Like, they're like, you're under arrest. She's like, wait a minute, I'm trying to figure out, do you understand? No, hold on, let me just try to understand here. Do you understand? No, see, what happened was you had the right to remain silent. Do you understand? No, I'm trying to tell you, answer the question. It's like they won't let her talk. She's trying to explain the situation and they won't let her talk. And it's just, I know, she wakes up covered in blood. They walk in with her having the cleaver, but it just, gotta let them talk. I understand the right to remain silent, whatever, but come on. And this is not like when they catch her. This is at the police station where you're supposed to talk and tell them what happened, but they won't let her. And so it happens again, twice in this film. Something happens with Bernadette. Bernadette gets murdered by Candyman. And the cops show up and arrest Helen again, but then this time put her in a mental institution because she keeps saying it was Candyman. Now, here's the thing. You can sit there and you can say, oh, hey, she's making it up. She's nuts. She doesn't mind Candyman's not real. But, for a fact, there are people out there impersonating Candyman. You arrested one earlier in the film. Yeah, Helen goes in to investigate this building, and she's confronted by a guy dressed like Candyman. How they knew what he looked like, I don't know. They have a mural, but still. And he beats her up. He doesn't kill her, he beats her up. And so then she points out who it is. Now, that doesn't mean he's the only Candyman impersonator out there. But yet, oh no, she's crazy because she's saying Candyman did it. But you already arrested someone impersonating Candyman, so why couldn't there be another one? You had like 6 guys standing there dressed like Candyman. Couldn't have been one of them? I mean, come on. It just doesn't make sense to me how she would get sent to a nut house because they don't believe that Candyman is real when they're Candyman impersonators out there. People dressed up like Candyman, committing murders they arrested one earlier. Also, she's in there for a month. But it feels like that to us and to her because she's drugged, apparently. Now, it's hinted at earlier in the film that her husband, Trevor, is cheating on her. And when she escapes because... I get it. So, because they don't believe her that Candyman is real, which you could still say it was someone impersonating Candyman, I'm just saying. She decides the best way to go about this is to summon Candyman right then and there with the psychiatrist sitting there. She does, and the psychiatrist dies. What a stupid fucking idea that was. Why would you do that? Why? Why? You know he's gonna kill him. You know he was going to. You knew he was going to kill the psychiatrist if you did that, but you still do it because you want to prove he's real. Summoning Candyman is never going to work out good for you. Okay, woman? It's never going to work out good for you. Didn't work out the first time. Didn't work out this time. Why would you? God, it infuriates me. But, so Candyman whooshes himself through the window with the wire you could tell is there, because it's HD. And then she escapes through the window, so she doesn't get framed for murder again, even though she's strapped to the chair. I mean, she can get out of it herself somehow, but still. And then that's when she goes back. She runs to her husband. Another logic problem here. Why would you run back to your husband? Why would you think going, not just husband, why would you think going home would be a safe place? That's the first place they're going to look for you is home. Wouldn't it make more sense if she went to Cabrini Green to confront Candyman? But no, she has to go home to catch her husband living with another woman so that she can feel hopeless, and then, with nothing left, she can confront Candyman. You have to make her feel absolute worst before she can confront Candyman, and that's bullshit. She could have just went straight from the mental hospital to confront Candyman. But no, they have to show us, well, we already fucking tell with our own minds that he was cheating on her. And they're painting the house pink or whatever. Whatever. And we'll get back to Trevor because... Okay, so she finally goes to Cabrini Green to find the baby. It's still missing. And so there's this little kid that tells her that told her to go into the building when she was attacked. And I initially thought, hey, that kid's in on with the rest of the gang. But no, he wasn't with that kid at all, with that guy at all that pretended to be Candyman, because he walks in and finds her body. And finds her laying there, I should say. Now, I will say, before I continue on to the climax, that if they had gone the route that it was all in the head, that she did commit these murders, that saying Candyman 5 times doesn't summon Candyman, but instead it's a psychosis thing where it messes with your head. You think that, you know, or they could say that Helen just is here. You could say that when she was beaten upside the head by that guy that messed with her head, it messed her up. And she's now hallucinating and seeing things. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? No. And then that's why she gets arrested and everything. It's because she's actually committing these murders, but she's saying Candyman did it because she's hallucinating and stuff. That would have been one way to go. It could be a good psychological horror movie. But no, he is real. And an explanation as to why he's after her in the context of the sequels makes no sense. Now, she's supposedly a reincarnation. Now, the story, okay, so earlier in the film, they're having a smoky dinner, because everyone was smoking there, with this one doctor, I forgot his name. He's an asshole, because when she explains what she's writing her thesis on, he's like, oh, Candyman country. Because she's like, we went to Cabrini Green. And he's like, oh, Candyman country. Well, you know, I wrote a thesis on it myself. Do you know the story? Maybe if you read my thesis, you would know. And then proceeds to tell the story about Daniel Robitaille, who was a slave back then, and he had an affair with the boss's daughter, basically, and she got pregnant. And then he was killed by bees. Bees. I'm not going to go into details, but bees. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I'm definitely afraid of bees. And I look away quite a few times at bees. Because it wasn't CGI. It was real bees. They used real bees. And Tony Todd got stung on the chest a couple times. But these real bees. One even they used like a little mouth guard thing to keep the bees in front. But one got behind and he said it was really weird, I guess. And there's also a thing that the director, Bernard Rose, did. So that he didn't want Helen to scream. Because I guess he hates screaming in horror movies. So he had her hypnotized so she looks most of the time. And yes, she does. But I guess she couldn't handle it because it was so weird for her, I guess. But, for most of the film. But yeah, we learned that she's a descendant. She's a reincarnation of the woman he had an affair with. Which is why he wants her. Which, in the context of the sequels, doesn't make any sense. I know about the sequels. I haven't seen them, but I know about them thanks to the kill count from Dead Meat. But in those films, they say that the main character of the second film is is a descendant, his like granddaughter or something. And then that daughter, who's in the second film, or in the third film, I should say, is his great-great-granddaughter. So his great-granddaughter is great-great-granddaughter. So how could they be his relatives and Helen's a reincarnation? It doesn't make any sense. But then again, the new film, which I'm going to talk a little bit about here in a little bit, because I haven't seen it yet. It's not out yet, but it's going to go back and just be a direct sequel with the first one, which is cool. So Helen's able to escape, and she finds that the baby is in a pile of garbage or something. And she climbs in there, but the little boy from earlier sees her climbing in and says, it's Candyman, just as he's here, and thinks it's Candyman, so he's gonna light the fucker on fire. Without making sure it is Candyman. You stupid, stupid kid. I'm not one for physically punishing a child, but that kid needs to be spanked. He's stupid. He's stupid. Bad kid. Stupid. You just put him in a jail cell. I don't know. Don't spank him. Put him in a jail cell. Lock him up. Throw away the key. Stupid kid. Put him in. Have him take Helen's place in a nut house. I don't know. But she goes in, and she goes to save the baby, but they set the place on fire, and then Candyman grabs her. And when she first goes to his hideout, he's asleep. He's supposed to be a ghost. I don't know. But anyway, she saves the baby, but she gets herself set on fire, and she dies. They have this big funeral for her at the end. And Anne-Marie, that's the woman, she gets her baby back. And I guess that baby is the main character for the new movie. From what I can gather. Now, the ending scene really doesn't make sense to me. All of a sudden now, Helen has the same powers as the Candyman. You say her name 5 times in the mirror, and she comes and kills you, and that's what happens to Trevor. Now, I'm sorry. You can sit there and say, oh, poor Trevor, but I feel no sympathy for Trevor at all. He deserves to be fucking killed for what he did. He was cheating on his wife, and she was in a mental fucking hospital, and he's just decided, well, she's gone. I'm going to be with this hoe. And I'm sorry, he deserved to die. He deserved to die. He deserved everything he got. But there's just a moment. It cuts to him in the bathroom, sitting there, crying, sobbing. He says Helen's name 5 times. She pops up with a hook hand, even though her hand didn't get cut off. So I don't know how that works. And her skull is burnt, so that should have been her telltale sign, not the hook. Doesn't make sense that she'd have a hook. Her hand wasn't cut off, so I don't understand. And she kills him. And then what the regular film would show was then the girlfriend finding him by opening the door, screaming, and then it cuts the end. But she's holding a knife when she does it, so she's gonna get framed for the murder. So, but this bitch deserves it anyway. That's the way it would be if you watch the DVD or Blu-ray. What happened here is because it's a television version. She opens the door and it immediately cuts to the credits. Like, she opens the door, you hear her scream, cuts to the credits. You don't see anything, it just cuts to the credits. You don't even see her standing there. It just cuts to the credits right away. Just stupid. Now, the new one, which I'm assuming, like I said, from what I could gather, the main character is the baby from the first one. So, there's that. And we're going to be following him. Now, I wanted to address this here because so many people are so wrong about this. When people keep saying that Tony Todd is going to be in the film, but he's not playing Candyman. You're wrong. You were all wrong. I've seen many YouTubers talk about the new one, like in live streams or reviews of the original, and they say, "Oh, Tony Todd's coming back, but he's not playing Candyman." No, he is playing Candyman, and people base this on the trailer that came out because the guy from Aquaman, not Jason Momoa, but the other guy played back like Manta, he's shown dressed as Candyman. People say, "Oh, he's the new Candyman." No, he's not. It's a hallucination. It's a hallucination. And it makes sense. Like, Candyman is shown feeding the baby honey, which could have some kind of properties in it that could affect the child when he grows up. He was kidnapped by Candyman. There's going to be some kind of effect on him. And if this is that kid, it makes sense why he's hallucinating Candyman. He's connected to him. You know? But he's not Candyman. He's what's that called? He's a proximity. He's not real. He's not really Candyman. Daniel Robitaille, Candyman. Tony Todd is playing Candyman in a new one. Don't let anyone else tell you different. Tony Todd is still playing Candyman. So if you watch a video, someone saying, "Oh, Tony Todd's in a new Candyman, but he's not playing Candyman." Yes, he is. You type in, "Yes, he is," because he is. Just look on fucking Wikipedia. You know, anyone can edit Wikipedia, fine, whatever. But go on IMDb too. It'll tell you he's playing Daniel Robitaille, Candyman. The trailers nowadays are designed to deceive you. Alright? Do not believe anything you see in the trailer anymore. Because they've done this so many times by saying the Hulk was in the final battle in Infinity War, but he wasn't. That there was a multiverse in Spider-Man Far From Home when there's not. Trailers lie. And the trailer we got for the new Candyman movie showed, you know, the main character as Candyman, but that's a misdirection. It's showing you one thing when the real thing's over here. He's not really Candyman. Tony Todd is Candyman. Alright. My score, I'm going to give it a 9. I really enjoyed this film. There's some things I didn't like, but hey, what can I say? I enjoyed it. Give it a 9. Alright, that'll do for this review. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Candyman. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. I'll see you in the next one.